It's a rainy day here in the Sultanate of Oman, and it's almost as if the sky is crying because the beloved Sultan, Qaboos bin Saeed Al Saeed, has passed away. I just got the news first thing this morning from a friend of mine who had actually also been to Oman several times. And I think a lot of people probably haven't heard of Oman, so I'll introduce the country briefly first. It's an Arab Gulf country. It's on the Persian Gulf and Arabian Sea / Indian Ocean. It borders to its north the United Arab Emirates, Dubai, and it has Saudi Arabia to its west and Yemen to its southwest. It's a coastal country, a lot of mountains as well. The Sultan uh, began his rule in 1970, so that makes it roughly 50 years of rule. And he brought peace and prosperity to a country that was hardly developed at all. I think there were hardly any roads. And if you see it now, I mean, it's a modern state. It's a peaceful, prosperous place. It's beautiful. It's comfortable. It's stable, and he deserves the credit for that. Bi'idhnillah, I mean, Allah allowed him to be able to accomplish that during his reign. And I think it's fitting that it's raining today. I don't ascribe weather events to any particular individual's circumstances, but I think someone that cared so much for his country would be happy to know on the day of his passing and the day after his passing that Allah was blessing his country, because I think when you pass away, one thing you worry about is the fate of your loved ones after you. Um, it's not easy to rule over millions of people and to transition a country. The Middle East went through some very turbulent times. There was the Iran-Iraq War. There was the Iranian Revolution. There were multiple Gulf Wars. There was the spread of Salafism and other violent political ideologies in the area. Rapid social change itself brings instability. And if you see, a modern country with mega malls, AC, desalination plants, well-equipped universities, foreigners of every stripe coming in, and then you think about how well people can adjust to that, you can imagine it needs a guiding hand, a wise and merciful guiding hand. And I really believe that Sultan presented that. He's someone that I've always admired greatly. One of the few politicians that I've ever admired, simply because of his ability to focus on what's important as a ruler, which is the peace and prosperity of the people. And he did that. So my condolences to the people of Oman. I just want to say, from an Islamic standpoint, some people consider royal families to not be a legitimate form of rule and that it should be a khalifa or spiritual leader. I think that that's not really substantiated by any hadith, which in fact do predict royal families. Second of all, from a practical point of view, to have a line of succession can actually ensure stability when you have people who, to be honest, are very far from any sort of Islamic ideal, and therefore not really going to respond that well to just who's the most spiritually enlightened person. Rather, they're much more, I think, materially bound. So it's all about, it doesn't really matter so much what the political system is, so much as what the politicians do within that system. This was a person who, as I said, made me feel safe. I started my family in Oman. I'm raising my family in Oman now. As an African American who's under assault by his own police forces, I feel safe here. As a Muslim who's been heavily discriminated against and harassed around the world by his own government, I feel safe here. So, just personally, he meant a lot to me. I know that he meant a lot to many, many Omanis and many, many people around the world. So, I ask Allah to forgive him and to protect him from any trials and punishments and to enter him into the highest part of heaven, Jannah. Ameen.